Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of May 25, 2025. I'm your host, Sherifa Mohammed, MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Ogontoy, an infantry officer. The North Group inflicted substantial losses on Ukrainian airborne assault units, for mechanized brigades, territorial defense formations, and border troops across Sumy and Kharkov regions. Key settlements affected include Magritsa, Yunakovka, and Kradianka. Enemy casualties total approximately 220 personnel, along with the destruction of tanks, armored vehicles, artillery, and electronic warfare equipment.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Ogontoy, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Ogontoy, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here. And happy African Liberation Day.
Colonel Ogontoy, thanks it is. African Liberation Day. Let's begin with the large-scale strikes conducted overnight. What was the scope of these operations and the intended objectives?
The operation executed last night was one of the most comprehensive multi-domain strikes we've carried out in recent weeks. It combined high-precision missile systems launched from sea, air, and ground platforms, in concert with a swarm of unmanned aerial vehicles. The targets were strategic, facilities tied directly to the Ukrainian military-industrial complex. Specifically, we hit enterprises manufacturing components for missiles, electronics for guidance systems, high-energy explosives, rocket fuel, and attack UAVs. We also struck radio intelligence centers and satellite communications facilities. The intention was not only to degrade Ukraine's immediate strike capability but to blind and paralyze their reconnaissance and long-range planning apparatus. By eliminating these nodes, we significantly disrupt their operational tempo and the integrity of their battlefield communications.
Let's turn to the ground theater, starting with the North Group of Forces. What did they achieve?
In the northern sector, our forces inflicted substantial losses on multiple Ukrainian formations operating in Sumy and Kharkov regions. The key areas of engagement included Magritsa, Pisarevka, and Kradianka. These aren't just points on a map, they're part of the logistical arteries that Ukraine uses to shuttle men and material toward the front. The North Group faced airborne assault troops, for mechanized brigades, territorial defense units, and border detachments. Our objective was twofold: to shatter their forward defenses and create disorganization in the rear echelons. We neutralized over 200 personnel, destroyed tanks, armored fighting vehicles, artillery units, and crucially, electronic warfare stations. This reduces their battlefield awareness and command coordination capacity in the region.
What about the West Group? I understand they made positional gains?
Correct. The West Group advanced to more advantageous terrain near Kupiansk and Krasny Liman. These positional gains weren't incidental, they were prepared for by reconnaissance in force and calibrated strikes on Ukrainian mechanized and National Guard brigades. Their tactical configuration was built to withstand frontal assaults, so we targeted their supply lines and EW infrastructure first. We also took out a U.S.-manufactured M113 armored personnel carrier and destroyed multiple artillery pieces. Perhaps more strategically important, we eliminated the Cordis EW station, which had been disrupting our UAV reconnaissance sweeps. This opens the battle space for more unimpeded ISR operations in the coming days.
There are also reports of another liberated settlement in the south?
Yes. The Southern Group liberated Romanovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. This victory wasn't symbolic, it disrupted Ukraine's second-layer defensive perimeter around Seversk and Konstantinovka. During the operation, we confronted mechanized and airmobile brigades, which were well dug in and supported by radar and EW nodes. We didn't just break their lines, we dismantled their sensory grid. 5 EW stations and 3 counter-battery radar stations were destroyed. That dramatically diminishes their ability to detect incoming artillery or coordinate responsive fire. Add to that the loss of 4 ammunition depots, and you start to see how their logistical chain is now badly frayed in that sector.
Let's now move to the center group. The numbers suggest this was one of the most intense sectors.
You're absolutely right. The center group engaged in unusually high concentration of elite Ukrainian formations, mechanized, Ranger, Airborne, Marines, National Guard, and the Azov Special Forces Brigade. This was a multidimensional engagement spread across key settlements such as Novotoretskoy and Dmitrov. Our operational doctrine here was layered assault supported by flanking artillery and drone surveillance. Enemy losses were heavy: 435 personnel, dozens of vehicles, and artillery. But more importantly, we destabilized a joint command cluster that had been coordinating movements across several adjacent sectors. This is going to have a ripple effect on Ukrainian cohesion along the central axis.
How did things unfold in the east and the DNEPR sectors?
The East Group pushed further into enemy-held territory, conducting successful engagements in Zelenoy Pole and Guliepol. These towns sit near operational choke points leading into southern Donetsk and northern Zaporizhia. Ukrainian Ranger and mechanized brigades were positioned there with artillery and MLRS support. We destroyed over 160 personnel and eliminated a Grad MLRS system, a key asset in area denial operations.
And the Dnipro group of forces?
The Dnipro group operated more fluidly, using mobile infantry and artillery coordination to dislodge Ukrainian coastal and mountain assault units near the Dnieper River corridor. Ukrainian losses here were lower in absolute terms, around 90 troops, but the material toll was significant: 5 ammo depots, 4 EW systems, and logistics nodes that supported cross-river operations.
Before we wrap up, how effective was air defense over the past 24 hours?
Exceptionally effective. Our layered air defense systems intercepted 4 JDAM guided bombs and 4 HIMARS rockets, both sourced from NATO. But the headline figure is this: we downed 274 Ukrainian UAVs in a single 24-hour window. That includes nearly 200 drones operating beyond the declared zone of the special military operation. This tells us 2 things. First, Ukraine is ramping up its drone reconnaissance and strike efforts even outside the active front. Second, our EW and air defense integration is adapting in real time. We are now effectively neutralizing both centralized and swarming drone threats, which is vital to maintaining operational surprise and force protection.
Colonel Ogontoy, let's start with the basics. Officially, we're told that Ukrainian troops are operating the Patriot systems after receiving accelerated training in the US and Germany. But there's a growing sense that something doesn't add up. What's your take?
It's a fair concern, and not just speculation. The Patriot missile system is not a plug-and-play platform. It's a deeply integrated air defense network that requires a layered command structure, data fusion from satellite and radar systems, and real-time decision-making that ties into US and NATO intelligence architecture. Even with fast-track training, it's unrealistic to think Ukrainian operators alone are running full-spectrum Patriot batteries. At minimum, US personnel, whether uniformed or civilian contractors, are involved in the data processing, threat classification, or engagement protocols. That means someone on the American side is in or near the kill chain.
So you're suggesting the US is operationally involved, not just supplying equipment?
Precisely. This isn't HIMARS, where pre-programmed GPS coordinates are entered and the system fires. Patriot requires continuous real-time updates from external sensors, some of which Ukraine doesn't own or operate, like space-based infrared systems and AWACS surveillance platforms. So, if a Patriot battery in Ukraine is responding to incoming ballistic threats from hundreds of kilometers away, and doing it within seconds, someone is relaying and interpreting that data. The most logical answer is, American operators are at least remotely supporting these systems, if not physically co-located.
That brings up a critical issue. If the US is in the air defense loop, are they, functionally, part of the war?
That's the geopolitical elephant in the room. If U.S. personnel are involved in launching interceptors against Russian aircraft or missiles, even indirectly, it constitutes participation in the conflict. This would mean that Russia is not just facing Ukrainian defenses, but NATO's active infrastructure. It blurs the line between proxy support and direct engagement. And from a strategic standpoint, it raises the stakes for escalation, especially if Russian aircraft are lost due to American-supported intercepts.
Now let's talk about performance. Despite the Patriot's reputation, there have been recent penetrations by Russian drones and ballistic missiles. Is the system underperforming?
It's not necessarily about failure, it's about exposure of limitations. Patriot is effective in theory, but it wasn't designed to handle mixed-mode saturation attacks where low-cost drones precede hypersonic or ballistic strikes. That's a doctrinal gap. When a $30,000 drone triggers the launch of a $4 million interceptor, or worse, allows a $2 million Kinzhal to strike after EW confusion, that's not just tactical failure, it's strategic inefficiency. The cost-to-kill ratio collapses, and the enemy learns faster than the system can adapt.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to emphasize that our forces remain committed to achieving our objectives while minimizing unnecessary harm. We continue to monitor and adapt to developments on the ground.
This has been Frontline Updates. Stay tuned for continuing analysis and expert commentary as developments unfold.